Today, I want to show you how you can set up native contact access inside of your Lovable mobile application. It's super simple with the Despia SDK, so let's get right started with it. Now, as you can see, we already have an example prompt here on lovable.despia.com, and we just need to copy the prompt to get it all working inside of our Lovable application. Now, there are a few things to note. We're using the Despia SDK, which is publicly available on NPM, so you can take a look at that if you want over there. And this will include this native functionality. So you first need to install the package npm install Despia native, and that will import it into your project. And then you need to import the package into the page and the components where you want to use the native functionality. So you're doing import Despia from Despia native. And then this is how contact permission works. You first need to request contact access, and then you need to read the contacts. So first request contact access, and your user only gets one chance to request it. So what you can do is when they click request contact access and nothing is being set, you're not getting, you're trying to, they try to click it and then you're trying to read them and nothing happens, right? So you could have like a checkbox on your backend, try clicking it on this device ID, right? They need to then go into their settings and manually enable it, because iOS devices only allow for important things like contact access, personal data. They have like a one-try policy, meaning when you click the request button and they click cancel, they need to go to the settings to then manually enable it. So keep that in mind. That is just for every native iOS, the rule. That is just Apple's regulation. So we need to request it, and then, but they can also request it from the settings page. So you can build an UI according to that. And then we just do an await, and we're reading the native context with the native method and looking for the context variable that the native runtime will inject back in our Lovable mobile application. So that's it. Let's copy this and let's paste it inside of here. And let's say add a button to request native contact access, and under that one to read them, and under that show the list of contacts. And then important is we need to upload the sample data type, because how would Lovable know how the data is formatted? In this example here, this is the example data type. So we're going to copy that here, right, from the Despia documentation, and I'm going to say the contacts variable will store the contact data as such a, and this is called JSON structure. And we're just going to paste that in here. And now we're going to send it to Lovable, and now it's going to be able to set the whole thing up for us. Super simple, super easy. So let's just wait a little bit. And now it says I'll add native contact access functionality using the Despia SDK with buttons to request permission, read contacts, and display them. And now it's going to edit the files here. And yeah, we're just going to wait a little bit here so it imports everything correctly. UI already looks nice. Okay. And now I added native contact access functionality with permission request and contact reading buttons using Despia SDK. Let's open this. So let's see if this is correct. We're importing Despia from Despia native. That is correct. Thumbs up. Now let's see. We're doing await, request, contact permission, set contact permission requested true. Yes, that is exactly how this has to work. This is correct. And then we're reading the context. So we have contact data, await, and then we have Despia, read contact data, and then we have the contacts. That looks good to me. Let's double check with the NPM documentation if that is correct. Let's go in here. Let's do contacts. Let's see. Access contact book, access. Okay. I probably got to go a little bit more down. Yeah, so you see how when we are doing contacts here, and we are defining it, it will actually, we will need to target contacts, so it would need to be contacts. I gotta fix that in our documentation actually. So let's say, keep in mind that it would need to be, because this is an easy error to make, because you are setting this variable context inside of here, but you need to, if you want to access this, you want to do contact data.context, because you can add multiple one in there. It needs to be contact data dot contacts, like here in the docs, right? Let me send that, because it's not, our documentation is not clear. I mean, it is correct, it's not wrong, because when it says is you are accessing the context, this is how you get the context, right? But then the assumption would be, and this is what AI is probably getting wrong, so I want to point this out so you can look at that. We're saying, hey, read context data, and then we're doing contacts the way Despia, we're requesting that, and then we're loading context. This will be now an object with contacts, and in the context value in the object, there will be the context data. This context data inside of here will be like this, but it would technically be still, you need to, if you want this to be the output of this, you would need to do contacts.context, because you're defining this as a const and not returning it directly, if that makes sense. So this is just something to note. We probably need to add like a little alert to our documentation, adding some resources to that, probably also putting a little call out in the prompt to make sure it understands that. So I just wanted to mention that in this video, so this is clear. Yeah, and now this should work. So let's look at the code again, and let's see. Where did it fix stuff? Let's look at the code. Okay, and you were seeing we're doing console log context data. This will get the context like this, and then we do contacts, contact data dot contacts. That will be 100% working. Let's publish that. And now the beautiful thing is with Despia and Lovable, we have updates over the air. So I'm just publishing a Lovable application, and that will then publish it immediately on the native version here. So we'll just wait till this finishes, and then we'll be able to test it out on the application. I just reinstalled the application, so you can see the context nicer. So I got to do all the stuff. So let's request contact permission. And now it says my app would like to access your contacts. Let's continue. And now I will say select contacts, and I will do Apple Inc. and I will do John Doe. Let's continue. Allow selected contacts, right? Because I don't want to dox everyone in my contact book today. And now I'm going to read contacts. And now, as you can see, I'm getting the native contact list shown inside of my Lovable mobile native application using the Despia SDK and Despia native runtime. And I can ship this to the App Store, Google Play Store, and have amazing native functionalities. Just one thing to note, always make sure that when you're getting data through this Despia method and you're registering the list of variables that you're trying to get back, the const that you define in here will take those variables, put them in an object. So if you want to access actually the context that you're listening for here, you need to do contact data.contacts. And our documentation does not specifically have a red thing somewhere in there saying, no, you need to use dot notation to access the different paths, because that's how it works. It's a little bit confusing. So I got to work on that, but this is why I'm doing this video. So this is available to people already to understand how it actually works. And sometimes the best way to learn is by, trying to bang your head a little bit against the wall and then figuring it out, like I did today here, because I got a little bit confused by it too. But that's how you do it. That's how it actually works. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your interest. If you have any questions about this, let me know. I'm here to help, and I can't wait to see you in the next exciting video where we're going to add another super cool native functionality inside of your Lovable mobile application. Take care. Bye.